The betrayal of the warrior's bride in the great kingdom of Benin. A celebrated warrior named Femi was revered for his unmatched strength and bravery. His name struck fear into the hearts of enemies and pride into the people of Benin. His fame spread far and wide, and no battle was ever too great for him. But despite his power, Femi was a man of honor and love, especially towards his bride, Grace. She was the daughter of a respected elder in the kingdom, known for her grace, wisdom, and unwavering loyalty to her husband. Their love was one that the entire kingdom admired. They were seen as the perfect couple, inseparable and deeply devoted to each other. Their wedding, celebrated under the bright sky of Benin, was a grand affair. The entire village danced to the rhythms of drums as the couple exchanged vows, promising to stand by each other no matter the trials they would face. Femi vowed to protect his bride with his life, while Grace promised to support him in all his endeavors, even those that would take him far from home. Together, they were a symbol of unity, strength, and unwavering love. But fate had other plans for them. For soon after their marriage, Femi was called to lead his men into a faraway land where war raged between two neighboring kingdoms. The king, seeing his unmatched ability, insisted that Femi go without delay. Grace, heartbroken yet understanding, bid her husband farewell with a promise to wait for his return. As Femi set off to battle, Grace remained in Benin, but the absence of her husband began to change her. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Despite her deep love for Femi, the loneliness began to weigh heavily on her heart. She began to seek comfort from those around her, and soon, her gaze fell upon a man named Tunde. Tunde, a fellow warrior and childhood friend of Femi, had always harbored feelings for Grace, but out of respect for his friend, he had kept them hidden. Now, with Femi gone, Tunde saw an opportunity. Grace, seeking companionship in her solitude, found solace in Tunde's presence. They spent time together, talking about the old days, the kingdom, and their shared memories. Slowly, their friendship deepened into something more. Tunde's passion for her grew, and Grace, though conflicted, allowed herself to be drawn to him. The guilt of betraying Femi began to eat at her, but she buried those feelings, telling herself that Femi had been gone too long and was likely never to return. But one fateful night, under the cover of darkness, their passion ignited. Grace and Tunde shared a moment that would change everything. It was a betrayal that Grace would regret deeply, but she would not fully understand the consequences of her actions until it was too late. When Femi returned to Benin, victorious from the war, he expected to be reunited with his beloved bride. However, there was something different in the air. The people of the kingdom greeted him with mixed emotions, and there was an unease that he couldn't shake. When he finally made his way to the palace, he found Grace alone in the grand hall, her face pale, her eyes avoiding his. The moment they locked eyes, Femi knew something was wrong. His heart raced with a mix of love and suspicion. "Grace," he said softly, his voice thick with emotion. "What has happened? I've been away for so long, and yet it feels like a stranger has taken your place." Grace's eyes filled with tears as she fell to her knees. "Femi, I am so sorry. I have wronged you in the most unforgivable way." At first, Femi could not comprehend what she was saying. She explained, her voice shaking, how the months of loneliness had driven her to make a terrible mistake. Her confession shattered Femi's heart. The betrayal stung deeper than any wound from the battlefield. Femi, in his fury, demanded to know every detail of what had transpired. As she spoke of Tunde, of the night they had shared, Femi's world crumbled around him. But as the initial anger ebbed, something else began to rise within him, an emotion that neither rage nor sorrow could fully describe. He felt betrayed not just by his wife, but by the very fabric of his trust in those he had held close. "I trusted you, Grace," Femi said, his voice breaking. "You were my everything, my shield against the world. And you," he paused, struggling for the words, "you have betrayed me." Grace fell silent, the weight of her actions sinking in. She had never intended to hurt him, but now she had. Her greatest fear had come true. She had destroyed the man she loved. But as Femi walked away, ready to leave her, the warrior found himself conflicted. He had loved her for so long, and despite her betrayal, a part of him still wanted her. Revenge tempted him, but it felt hollow, like a shadow of the honor he had always lived by. He sought solace in the counsel of an elder in the kingdom, who advised him to face his pain not with vengeance, but with understanding. Sometimes, the elder said, we must learn to forgive, not for the one who hurt us, but for ourselves, to release the chains of bitterness that bind us. Femi wrestled with this advice. The more he thought about it, the more he realized that vengeance would not heal the wound in his heart. He returned to Grace, but not with the anger she expected. He had come to confront her, not as a warrior, but as a man. Grace, he said quietly, I can't forget what you've done, but I am willing to try to forgive you. Grace, overwhelmed with emotion, embraced him, knowing that this was a rare and precious gift, one she could never repay, but one that she would treasure forever. The two began a slow, painful journey of rebuilding their relationship, learning to trust again. It was a difficult road, filled with many twists and turns, but in the end, they both emerged stronger, having faced the darkness of betrayal and the light of forgiveness. As time passed, Femi and Grace's bond grew, but the shadow of the betrayal lingered. They never fully returned to the place they had once been, but they built something new, a love forged in the crucible of pain and redemption. In the end, Femi learned that even the greatest warrior could be defeated by the wounds of the heart, but it was his ability to heal those wounds that made him truly strong.